Today, we're going to find out what wine pairs with a Halal Snack Pack and a Doner Kebab. I'm Jason.
And I'm Trent, and we're here on an unfiltered, unapologetically unprofessional wine journey. And we're saying here, Jace.
Our saying is, drink more, try more, learn more. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Every time you say we've got a saying here, I feel like it gets more intense. What have you been thinking about, Trent?
So what are we thinking about? Again, I'm trying to understand this kind of wine journey we're going on. And one thing that I kind of come across all the time is ripe tannins.
Ripe? What, ripe?
Ripe tannins. Ripe tannins.
I didn't even know that was a term.
It was a term. So ripe tannins go, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does it mean? And I started to look into it. And from Decanter says that the primary role in nature is to make unripe fruits and seeds unpalatable, so to dissuade animals from eating it when it's not ripe enough. And it says that ripening changes the structure of the tannins through polymerization to increase overall length due to the combination of smaller molecules. So it makes it, I guess, more tasty at a certain point in time and less tasty when it's not ready. When I think of tannins, I kind of think of texture and bitterness. Okay. And there was an analogy that was used in Wine Spectator talking about bananas.
Okay.
Not bananas that you're thinking about, but actual bananas that we eat.
Well, keep going, because I'm trying to work out what bananas I'm thinking about. But keep going.
So we think about when you have an unripe banana, it's quite green.
Oh, yeah,
Have you had a green banana before?
I've had a green banana before. Yep.
Yeah, and it's quite bitter.
Yeah.
You know, it's quite tart.
Yeah.
And it's not very nice, right?
Agreed.
And that's kind of unripe tannins.
Yes.
When it's ripe, it's just ripe, that yellow banana, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of like just the right texture, bit of bite to it, and just tastes just perfect.
Yep.
But then when you have an overripe banana where it's kind of starting to turn a bit yellow, black and funky, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of overly sweet, mushy, and again, not that nice, but probably good for banana bread.
Yep.
So when you kind of think about it that way, and you think about grapes, there's always that kind of optimal time to kind of pick it where we have kind of ripe tannins in it.
Yes.
And so that's kind of how I kind of think about it. So summary for it, like unripe, it's kind of green, slightly bitter, astringent, rough and harsh.
Yeah.
And when it's ripe, it's kind of grippy, nice amount of tannins, polished, elegant, silky, structured and fine-grained. When it's overripe, I kind of think it kind of lacks body, it's unstructured and a bit flabby. And that's kind of what I think about now when I kind of look at, when I say ripe tannins and unripe tannins and overripe tannins.
Yeah. I think that's a good link. I think if you're thinking about the right time for tannins, ripe tannins, yellow banana.
Yeah, ripe pollen. Anyway.
Did you write that down?
I did.
You just come out with these zingers. I love that.
Oh, gee, what do you been thinking about, Jace?
What have I been thinking about? I recently went to a gathering. Gathering involves people. I feel like I should explain that. It was a social event, someone's birthday party, and there was a bunch of friends. You weren't there. No. Different social circles. Eventually, we'll merge these together. And there was a couple of people there that I typically hang out with, and whenever we're together, we're having a couple of drinks.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's usually beer, there's whiskey, there's every drink under the sun you can imagine. And we were talking about the VIC podcast. And someone said to me, I actually don't drink wine because it gives me headaches. And then the person next to him said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And I was shocked because we've been drinking together for quite some time and we'll drink everything. Yeah. Right. And they can tolerate the alcohol. Yeah. But at the same time, they're saying we're specifically avoiding wine because it produces headaches.
So the whiskey didn't give them headaches?
Whiskey doesn't give them headaches. Rum doesn't give them. Tequila doesn't give them headaches.
The West Coast coolers don't give them headaches?
Nothing gives them headaches except wine. Wow. And I've never heard this before. Have you heard this? Have you heard anyone go, I'm not going to drink it because it gives me headaches?
I think I've heard of it. I don't know whether it's an urban myth or it's actually a fact to it. But tell me the science.
Yeah, so that's what we do at the Wind Up. We try and dig down into the facts, right? So I wanted to find out, is this true? Does wine actually give you headaches? And there's a few things that I'd found. There's one myth and 4 facts that contribute to headaches with wine. Yeah. The myth is about sulfites. Have you heard about sulfites?
I've heard about sulfites, yeah.
Right. What's the role of sulfites? Do you know the role of sulfites?
Control oxidation.
Yeah. So helping with preserving the wine overall, but it's actually a natural byproduct of fermentation. So it's in all of the wines in reality, right? But winemakers can add it to help with the preservation. Sorry.
Yes.
I had to slow down to pronounce that. Yeah. But a lot of people have said it's the sulfites that contribute to the headaches. It's not true.
Yeah, myth.
The scientific community have said, actually, sulfites, if you're allergic to it, it could give you breathing problems, so more asthma related, but it's not going to contribute to headaches.
I heard there's like 1,000 more percentage of sulfites in like dried apricots than there is in wine.
Yeah. So if anyone's saying it's the sulfites that's giving them the headaches, don't believe them. That's not the case. Yeah. But what it could be are these 4 other factors. So the first one you were just talking about, yellow bananas. Tannins. Yeah. Tannins, right? Yeah. Tannins, they're compounds, like you said, within the grapes to give them flavor and structure, but people have a sensitivity to them. Yeah. And they're more prevalent, we know, in red wine than white wine. So those that are sensitive to tannins, they can get a headache, is the truth of it. But the alternative is have white wine instead. Don't avoid wine altogether.
So that's a fact, is it?
That's a fact.
So we said tannins before is black tea bags as well. Does it mean they get headaches from tea bags?
Well, we need to ask the community. That sounds, if you drink black tea bags and get a headache and also get it from red wine, let us know. The other one was histamines.
Yes.
And it sounds like you're familiar with histamines. So histamines are chemicals released during an allergic reaction. You often get a runny nose. You could get a headache. Yeah. And so they're also a byproduct of the fermentation process and can trigger an allergic reaction. So if you are getting headaches because of the histamines, then take a histamine blocker like Claritine. Antihistamine, and then you can enjoy your wine, right?
Is there a difference between white and red wines? Do you know that?
Well, in terms of histamines, it doesn't say, only the tannins. Why? Why are we bringing it? They're just curious.
I just thought there'd be more histamines in red than there would be in white.
Yeah. Well, that's something that we need to look into.
Let us know.
Community, feed us with that knowledge. The third one, which I think doesn't make sense to this specific group of people, was alcohol. We know alcohol dehydrates you. All of your fluids are getting expelled out of your system. What your body does, it extracts alcohol liquid to replenish your body from everywhere, including your brain.
When you said alcohol, all your fluids get expelled out of your system. What do you mean by that?
As in, you go to the toilet, you hang a leak.
I thought alcohol doesn't just like that. Come on.
It doesn't explode out of your underarms, if that's what you think.
Just need more clarification.
But you do need to release it, so you do have to go. It is a really good question. Thank you for asking that. What the body tries to do is replenish its liquids, and so it's drawing liquids from everywhere. It draws it from your brain, your head. Yeah. As it's drawing that down, there's less liquid. That can contribute to a headache. Yeah. So obvious thing with alcohol, hydrate, and the doctor I recently went to said every time you have a drink of alcohol, have a glass of water, balance out and hydrate in that manner.
Glass of water?
As just a standard glass of water, I guess. I don't think you need a pitcher if that's what you're thinking. But to me, this group of people, they can't be susceptible to the alcohol aspect to it because they're drinking every other alcohol out there. So I don't think that was a contributor to them. The last one is a recent study that was found that there's something called quercetin. Have you ever heard of quercetin? I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I raised it before. I think it kind of influences the Asian flush and all that stuff.
Oh, you raised that?
Yeah.
I thought you talked about acetaldehyde.
And quercetin, yeah.
And quercetin. Well, obviously I listened to the Wine Up podcast because I picked up acetaldehyde, but not quercetin. Quercetin, as it contributes to the Asian flush, also contributes to headaches. It contributes to hangovers, which is, I think, is the episode that you were talking about. So that's the 4. I'll hell out 5. That's the 4 contributors.
That's the 4 contributors.
One myth, which equals 5. Histamines, tannins, alcohol, quercetin. Yeah. And so for most of those, I think avoiding wine isn't necessarily the thing you need to do, right? If you want to still try your wine, have a taste of the wine that you're having and log it down, which is the one that's actually giving you a headache. And then you can work out from there if you can pivot. And then there's other things that you could do. Obviously, keep hydrated. Try the Claritine if it's the histamines. And then if it's the tannins, try white wine instead of red wine.
Good tips, mate.
All the tips out there. So try wine and try and avoid headaches. But today we wanted to talk about a favorite snack of mine. Yeah. which is a doner kebab and a halal snack pack. And to me, doner kebab is something that I've been having since I was probably about 7 years old. But we were talking about this, and I don't know if it's a snack that you have. How often have you had these?
I've never had a doner kebab before. Ever. And I've never had a halal snack pack before.
Yeah. Okay.
So be a first.
Both of those are surprising. I was talking to someone earlier today, just explaining what we were going to do. And I mentioned that you'd never had a doner kebab before. And they literally walked away like in disbelief. Like they couldn't handle it because there's so many people that have it. Is it just because it's not in your area or you just don't like the flavors? What was it about?
I'm more of a chicken man and I just fell in love with a chicken kebab.
Okay, so you have kebabs.
I have
it's
kebab.
Just not
There's
the
chicken
doner.
kebab with barbecue sauce, with cheese, and then like melted through. And then because I've onto that good thing, that I haven't strayed away from it.
Got it. Well, look.
A bit like my wife.
Yeah, don't stray from that. Because you'd be having some green bananas. Anyway. So doner kebab and halal snack pack, we thought this common thing that I'm having, you have chicken kebabs. Yeah. What wine pairs with this? Yeah. So that's what we wanted to work out today at the Wine Up. What wine best pairs with a doner kebab and a halal snack pack? And so we've got two here in front of us. One we picked up from a local store, recommended from a mate called Kebab King. And again, I think doner kebabs are a very discussed topic within the community. So let us know your favorite doner kebab place and your favorite place to get halal snack pack. Now, I might let you chew into that for a bit and give you a bit of an overview about these two snacks, and then we'll talk about the wine. So quick overview on the doner kebab and the reason it's called doner. So doner kebab, it was actually a Turkish dish, and it was created on its... For those that have seen it, it's kind of meat rotated on a vertical spit. And it can usually be lamb, beef, chicken, and it's marinated and slow cooked. And as it rotates around this spit, it gets a bit crispy on the outside and moist on the inside, and the juices and the fat kind of trickle down this meat. It sounds delicious.
Is that good fats, or it's a healthy dish, right? Because it has like protein, it has salads. Yeah. You know, it has a bit of carbs in there as well with the wrap. So I think it's quite healthy, yeah?
It's kind of putting a combination together. Now, the meats itself and what that combination on the spit is, I'm not exactly sure what's there, but it would be some lamb or beef or chicken or something to that.
I actually thought it was always like named after someone's daughter or wife, like Donna.
which I never thought I'd ever look into why it's called doner. It's called doner because doner means rotating. That's what it means in Turkey, which aligns to the spit itself. And then in Australia, it was brought over from the Turkish immigrants, 70s to 80s. It was brought over and has been enjoyed as a snack quite often as a hangover cure after in the early mornings. So that's a bit about doner kebab. Halal snack pack, I feel like that's been quite new. I haven't been having that. I've probably only had it in the last 2 years or so, right? I hadn't seen halal snack pack when I was a kid growing up.
I never have. And again, this is my first time having halal snack pack.
Yeah. So
what is it?
Halal snack pack, it's effectively the meat that you're getting on the doner kebab on a bed of chips. And then they chuck on some fantastic sauce to give it the flavor. It's got garlic sauce, chili sauce, barbecue sauce is typically the holy trinity that they put out there. It started to come around in the 2000s because they were trying to create an alternative to fast food that had halal meats and so forth. And that's how that came about.
It almost feels like Guzmani Gomez. You know, this is like the burrito and this is like the burrito.
Yeah, Turkish version.
Yeah, but this one has chips in it as well.
Absolutely. And very Moorish is what these dishes are. So that's a bit about the dishes. Let's talk about wine pairings. And I have to admit, I'm very nervous for this wine pairing because it didn't quite go according to plan. When I'm typically having a doner kebab, I love it with the meat, obviously lettuce, tomato, onions, cheese, but I chuck on hummus, barbecue sauce, and a special ingredient, which is tabbouleh. And this specific restaurant didn't have tabbouleh today, so we don't have that. And that's what I had when I was thinking about the wine. But let's talk about the wines that you were thinking to bring across. What were you going to have?
Well, I went for the best Great Western 2019 Sparkling Shiraz. Okay, so the reason why I went for the best Great Western is one, what do you have when you generally have a kebab? What drink do you have?
I'm actually using water or it's a soft drink. One of the two. Yeah.
A soft drink. I'm thinking a Coke.
A Coke. Right. Yeah.
So I think what is very kind of Coke-like.
Yeah.
So I thought a sparkling red.
Yeah.
So I thought, why not try a Sparkling Shiraz? So one of the best Sparkling Shirazes out there is Best Great Western. It's described here, like black pepper, cherry cola, and plum. And then when I think about cherry cola, bubbles, plum, aniseed going with lamb and chips and garlic sauce, it feels like a match made in heaven. So that's why I went for that one. And I was quite, excited to see how it would go with the Halal Snack Pack and kebab, because it's got popping my cherry, right, for both the HSP and the Doner Kebab, but also in terms of the Sparkling Shiraz for this one.
This is going to be a memory for you, I tell you. So you've effectively gone, okay, let's substitute Coke.
Correct.
With this, which is a great idea. It makes sense. It's very logical.
Yeah, Coca-Cola, cherry cola and plum. Savory notes, anise, leather, charcuterie, perfect with a kind of like lamb. Palate, fresh, vibrant, dark cherry, raisins. Generally have it with Christmas, but I had it before with the Doner Kebab and it tastes absolutely spectacular. So much better than your wine. Can I say that?
Because it doesn't have to bully.
Yeah, exactly. I was interested also why you went for my wine for your wine as well.
I went for my wine because I'm missing an ingredient. And I don't want to disappoint straight out. Like the tabbouleh was so key to my choice.
Yes.
So the logic, as I stuffed my face with a doner kebab, the logic really was you've got that sweet, that fizziness from the cola.
Yeah.
Let's get sparkling. It's got that fizziness in there as well.
It'll cut through the fattiness up as well, right? The bubbles. It gives it lightness, right?
Yep.
Are you feeling that?
I am feeling it. And I'm going to dig into the HSP as well. Have you had both?
I've had both. I am probably more a fan of the Doner Kebab than the HSP, but I normally see it like the HSP is like these kind of massive boxes of like chips laid on with lots of meat and this lots and more. You talk about more-ish. I think it's kind of more-ish of that kind of meat and chips on top of it that comes through.
Yep.
So I thought, with this one, it works well. You're starting to have a bit of it there. While you kind of tuck that down, I did try your one.
Let me talk about that, but I do want to give you my feedback in regard to this. I do think it's a great pairing, and the way I look at it is like, if you think about your red meats, you're typically having that with a red wine, right? And the doner kebab, I think a doner is probably the beef portion of it. That's going to go well with the fruitiness coming from those red, maybe black fruits that are coming out because this is a Shiraz. But it's the lightness from the sparkling side to it, because it's sparkling, it's not heavy body, it's got that light fizz on it, which makes it more refreshing because the flavors are quite, there's so many flavors going on with the kebab.
And you have it cold as well, right?
Yes. Yep. So that's a pretty damn good pairing. All right. We don't need to talk about ours, but let's do a bit of a corkscrew rating. Look, Trent, I have to give credit where credit's due. And I do think that works pretty damn well with a kebab. I'd give that an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 corkscrews.
Only 8.
Only 8. It could be a 9. I'm going to try it with a HSP one more time.
For me, I'm thinking I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. It's like one of the best pairings I've done. I was actually looking for a bit more of an off-dry type of Sparkling Shiraz, a bit of sweetness, so a bit kind of Coke-like. There's a bit more of a dry format. These Best Great Western, they do fantastic wines. They've been doing this for years now. And it's a absolutely beauty in terms of a pairing. It's bloody delicious.
It's a good pairing. I think with the HSP, the thing is, like the chips is such a key component. This carby, starchy, crunchy kind of part of it. And I don't necessarily think that makes me link to a Sparkling Shiraz. It's not a bad pairing because you've got the meat there, but it's not as good as the doner kebab.
Yeah. What'd you go for, Jace?
Now let's talk about my fantastic pairing.
You have spoke about your history of wine pairings before, so obviously you've evolved and
I've been thinking very hard about this. If you could bring it up and just show it to the screen, and I want people to visualize what this could be like if it had tabbouleh. So it's a Helm Half Dry Riesling. I think it's a 2020 vintage. Let me explain while you scoff down and try it with the potential. And I want you to imagine tabbouleh as you're eating it. So typical doner kebab for me, it's going to have obviously the bread, the soft flat bread around it. And then it's very pronounced views on the onion. So citrusy onion, sweetness from the onion. Also tabbouleh, fresh parsley, that herbs, that crispness coming through. And then you've got this hummus, this creamy hummus, right, that you need to cut through. Barbecue sauce, which has got an element of sweetness on it. And then you've got the meat that you need to kind of cleanse your palate on, right? So my thought with the Riesling was you need something high acidity to match the crispness and refreshing nature of the onion and the tabbouleh, and then to cut through the hummus. But you need it to be off dry to kind of match the barbecue sauce and then offset the savory meat. Yeah. That was the theory. But this doesn't have tabbouleh, which is why key component is missing.
I had it just with the kebab, and I felt that it was a bit jarring. I actually think it would have worked better if it was more of a dry style than a off-dry style of Riesling with it. Kind of focusing more on those kind of lemon lime. You're going to cut through the kind of fattiness of that kind of lamb and heavy oil and kind of meats. What are your thoughts?
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. I'm trying to... the reason I didn't go for a dry is because I actually tried a dry Riesling. Right? And it made my mouth feel like I needed something that's still a bit more refreshing to it, something that would change the palate, which is why I thought off dry. Let's give this a crack.
What was the dry that you went with?
I went with a Aldi Riesling, right? Because kebab is already like $20. You got to spend a bit more money on it. So Clare Valley Riesling from Aldi. Okay.
I had it with HSP. I didn't know. The HSP has a bit of kick to it. The spice, all right?
It's got some chili sauce to it.
There's a very pronounced difference between the kebab and the HSP. I feel like the spice on that one just overpowers the Riesling and probably works slightly better with the kebab, but nowhere near as good as the Sparkling Shiraz.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. I think you're piping up your choice.
Let's go to
Corkscrew.
What Corkscrews are you giving it?
I actually think with the kebab, I'd give that a 7. The off-dry Riesling, I'd give that a 7. It's not jarring. It doesn't uplift it in any way, but it doesn't it doesn't make it worse. Is my opinion. It's not a bad, refreshing kind of pairing between the two. So I'd give that a 7. I'd probably give it a 6 for the HSP pairing. Okay, what about you?
I think 6 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
I think that, I don't know, I'm curious. Like, we've had like a Clare Valley Riesling, lemon lime, kind of like that kind of spritz kind of come through it. I think it might have, I don't know. I'm curious to see if that would have worked better, but you said they wouldn't.
Yeah, no.
But this one, I feel that, it did kind of jar with it. I think like the sweetness and the fattiness kind of like overwhelmed me. That I need a bit more acidity to kind of like cut through it. That's all.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Look, I'm not going to deny, I think the Sparkling Shiraz, that's the one to go to. If you had to choose one, absolutely go for that one. What do you think of doner kebabs and HSPs? Are you going to have more of them in your life?
No.
That's a one-time snack. It's all right.
No, chicken kebabs all the way, man. Chicken
kebabs, it's all the way. All right, so hopefully we've given you a bit of insight into what the hell is a HSP, and also explained what's with a doner kebab. But more importantly, potential wine pairings. We'd really love to know what you would have with a doner kebab in a HSP. Let us know in the comments below. As we love to say here, drink more, try more, learn more. Thanks all.